Thank you for joining Once Changing the World. I'm your host, Eddie Avil, and today I'm delighted and honored to have with me Amit Yadav, who's the co-founder and CEO of Ishiki Labs, building multimodal AI systems designed to seamlessly interact with real-time video and audio streams, knowing when to stay silent and when to respond. He graduated from IIT Gandhinagar and went on to complete one of the fastest direct Ph.D. programs in artificial intelligence and machine learning at Purdue University, finishing in just 3 years. He's ex-research scientist at Meta Reality Labs, where he worked on cutting-edge AI for immersive technologies. His research spans multimodal large language models, generative models, self-supervised transformers for speech and video processing, reinforcement learning and post-training strategies for multimodal systems, AI-powered wearables, and human interactions. At Ishiki Labs, Amit is driving the vision of human-like multimodal assistants that can collaborate naturally with people, pushing the boundaries of how AI integrates into everyday life. So Amit, really appreciate you taking time being part of the podcast. I wanted to get your thoughts on formal education as well as degrees, because what I see is people like Elon Musk and many other startups are saying that skills is what they require, not degrees. And throughout my career, I've started under, and I realized, the people with degrees failed. Wherein people with skills kind of moved ahead. So will be great if you could maybe share your journey from IIT Gandhinagar to Meta. What were the mistakes, and from your journey that what you could advise to maybe other founders who could avoid those mistakes.
Thanks a lot, Eddie, for having me. Um, the first question, which is like the take on having a formal degree versus just building. I think I have very controversial take on it. And my question to everyone who is listening is like, what do you want to become? If you want to become a researcher and a leading researcher in training these model or building these technology, not an entrepreneur, then you need a formal degree. Still at Meta, you cannot give interview if you don't have a PhD for research scientists. So there are two sides of the picture. The one side is, okay, lot of these generative methods are coming, but who are making it? All the people who are making it are most likely a researcher, unless you want to become a builder and an entrepreneur. Because now there are so many tools available, you can build things very fast. So the whole fixation is on the thought process, that what do you want to build? And how can now, I think like one thing which is becoming very crazy is that people have to go out and think about use cases, sell those things, distribute, learn fast from the user, and everything else, which was like core software engineering, is becoming almost automated, right? But if you want to be in that position, then I will 100% agree that go out, build things faster. Don't worry about like degree and all other formal education. But if you want to be on the other side, which is making all those tools, which is automating all those things, you still need a formal degree. And the reason is because these tools have become so good that to push it slightly even more, you need a formal degree and that grind, I think. But that is like my take. Now, coming back to my background, I come from a family where almost nobody is an engineer. Everyone in my family either is in politics or they are in judicial system. So it's sort of an exception. And I love to say like my father was a rebel who was like, I want to go in judiciary, and I was a rebel who was like, I want to go in engineering. So I did my undergrad, and the reason for doing IIT was actually I never prepared for IIT. The way I got into IIT was, I think, some serendipity that happened, which is I really love mathematics, and I was preparing for my CBSE board exam, and I got into IIT. And I joined actually material science, but I had like lot of interest and passion in robotics and computer science, and that's the reason like I went into electronics, because that's where you can explore hardware and software aspect, and did a lot of machine learning during that period. And I realized like, and immediately almost I realized that I have some interest in research. I did a lot of research internship in Japan, Canada, where I'm working on research project with different labs. And I realized like I do want to do a PhD, because to become a scientist in a leading lab, in a big tech lab, which has unlimited resources almost, you need a PhD. And at the same time, nobody had PhD in my house. So I was like, oh, this is fun. Anyone else in my family now wants to know about PhD, I can tell them. And also somehow it feels like, oh, I'm getting free money, especially in the States, to work on something I like. So it will be sort of a hobby. So that was the mindset I went with. And because of that mindset, I think it went very smooth for me. It took me 3 years, went very, very fast. And I think another reason was being very obsessive. So throughout my life, I did my undergrad also a semester early, where I did like bachelor's, dual degree. And a lot of people don't know that like there are always hack and like clauses in the system. If you are doing really hard, they will allow you to do anything which is rational. So, for example, a lot of people don't know that in IIT you can do BTech in 3.5 years. It's just that you need to get a permission. Uh, a direct PhD, there is a way to apply a direct PhD. You don't have to do masters. So that mindset helped me a lot, and it built from IIT Gandhinagar, where they allowed me to like talk or make an exception with the authorities and like go and do like in 3.5 years, make my own like academic plan. So I had that mindset, and that mindset exactly helped me in my PhD also, because I was never looking for like time period. It's mostly looking for, look, okay, I have to do good work. Let's keep doing good work, whatever I'm enjoying. When the time is right, I can just go and ask the authority and they will allow me to graduate. So that is exactly what happened in my PhD. And then I was working in AI, and the best place, because of all the GPU resources right now to work, to me felt was like industry. And that's where I went into Meta, and mostly I worked on multimodal AI systems. So what does that exactly mean? Imagine like wearing a smart glass and you have a AI assistant, and you just said, hey, switch on, be there for 1.5 hours or whatever time you want. And now it is exactly a companion with you. It's going with you wherever you are going, and you can ask it things and it remember about things. So you can also ask like, hey, long time back we saw that poster, what was the contact number on it. So you can ask these different kind of multimodal, basically means like it can see and hear AI these questions. And that is what I mostly worked on, like post training them and improving them. And I realized one thing very weird, that if you talk with any AI system right now, they are not aware about multi-person scenario. Which means if you open a voice mode on any AI system, or if you wear a smart glass and you start this assistant mode, and if you say anything, they will expect it to return a response. They will expect you are talking to them. And that is where I was like, oh, this is not human like. Like, this is not contextually understanding anything. And also, you have to always ask question. If you see Chat GPT now, the interaction has switched slightly. If you say like, hey, I'm working on design and I want this thing, it will give you three options that either do this, or do this. And the reason to give, at least in my head, those options is because then you can, you as not expert of that field, you don't really know what are the next three things you should ask. So it proactively comes up with those three things so that you can just choose. And that's exactly how a human will behave. If you have a lawyer, it will come up with three options you should do in the next course of action. So now it becomes like way better. And this is another part which was lacking a lot in multimodal AI, which is they cannot proactively help you like a person. You have to come up with a question, and the question has to be good. So that is where I was like, okay, we need to do something on it. We applied to Y Combinator, and throughout my life, I have never prepared for being an entrepreneur. Uh, I love building things. I love coding. I love being researcher. I loved all of my jobs, but this was something which happened very suddenly. We just applied with the idea, and we actually I had a whole break plan. I always go in December to India, come back to India, and like enjoy with my friends, family. And I had like this whole holiday period plan, and then I had to immediately leave. Like 2nd of December, I'm giving like resignation to Meta. 5th of December, we incorporated. So it was so fast. And this is how like it all started.
How cool is that? I want to get into Ishiki Labs, but before I kind of get into that, I mean, up to your point, about you need to be very sure about what you want to do. I mean, that's so very important. Parents, I kind of push you into the field of education, and there are like 3, 4 fields, which they want you to kind of get into, whether it's like become a doctor, become an engineer, or something like that. But I think the world is completely changing, and you need to be very, very sure what you want to do. Like you pointed out, if you're an entrepreneur, maybe those degrees are not needed, but yes, if you want to do something specific in like maybe like research field and kind of do something extremely unique, build a new architecture, or then obviously you need to have like background of maths and physics and stuff like that. And it's only when you start tinkering around, breaking things and making things, I think that's the only way you learn. So my point would always be to the students who are listening is that, be a lifelong learner and be ready to, mess things up, break things up, and learn. And I think that's the only way you really move ahead. I wanted to also get your thoughts on like a startup culture versus big tech, because you've been in Meta for some time, and then right now you mentioned that you kind of transition, and kind of put together your own startup. Which place? I mean, whether is it the academia, is it the big tech, or is it the startup? Where do you think people innovate truly and they have the most freedom, and why?
So all of these things needs to be driven by money, right? You need resources and capital to fund all the innovation, especially if you are doing on the cutting edge side, right? I feel like because in academia you put the idea, and very similar in a startup where you are starting with a grant or an idea, you have the most freedom of what you will work on. And in academia and startup, you don't have like any restriction on tools you can use. Whatever are the best tool you can use, even if your company has not adopted it, it's okay, right? It's purely driven by your individual interest and whatever you seeing are productive. So I feel like academia and startup are like giving the extreme amount of freedom. In academia, you can still navigate on some idea for a very long time, even if there are no revenues, which is also becoming possible now in research labs or like startups which are very AI first. But still, you need to like in startup find some product market fit, which means you have to keep iterating with what user is saying, which might be sometimes very different than what you want. And that's where I feel like academia gives maybe even more wider freedom. Um, and then comes a startup where you have freedom, but at the same time you have to derive it from what user needs immediately, or what are like big things you are solving for your customers. And that's where startups comes. And then I think the last things is the big tech, because over there you have joined a team, it's working on something, it's not going to change it for you. They have already betted maybe a roadmap of 3 years or 4 years on it. So you have to be very clear that I want to work on this tech. It excites me. It has something which I care about. And then you just go in. And you will not have most of the time control over the set of tools, because it comes through a very separate procurement process, which will which will be always maybe 1 or 2 years back from what is the leading thing in industry. So I think that is the framing. And I think you also, Eddie, touched on the point that you need to be a lifelong learner. And I learned it. Like, I was like, okay, I have heard this from like my parents and family again and again, that, hey, 10th is like the end of things. Like, do good in 10th, or do good in like your final 12th exams, board exams, or like go into IIT. Like, now you don't have to worry, just work. But I think like if you keep doing all of those things, you will realize that first, it is good to keep learning. It makes everything fun. The second thing you will realize is world is changing, exactly what you touched. It's changing so fast. The amount of information and the tech stack is changing so much that you have to keep learning, right?
Right, completely. And we are in a world where there's like an information overload of sorts. So it's so very important to kind of funnel down what works for you. I mean, that's so very important. Otherwise, I mean, you'll be like, I mean, there's too much of information, and you'll be going bonkers. Now, you mentioned that you worked at Meta, and specifically the AI glasses. And Meta has been forefronting. Largely they were forefronting the XR conversation. Building virtual reality glasses, and then the transition to like mixed reality glasses, and that's taken a backseat because the metaverse, which like Mark Zuckerberg kind of vision, that's still not kind of matured enough. But I'm sure that will possibly play out maybe in the next 5-10 years, because I personally believe that our interfaces traps us, because we live in a 3D world, but all our interface, be it your TV screen, your mobiles, your computers, they are 2D, while we live in a 3D world, and eventually, these glasses, head wearable devices, it'll give us like the entire world will be a screen, and so you working on the AI glasses, and I'm sure you must have worked on the AR glasses also, because they have the roadmap of Project Orion as well as Project Aria. Will be great if you can kind of give us more details on that, because there's this fantastic content creator called Kichi Matsuda, and he's created two videos which I think is really really cool. One is hyper reality, where he's created the video. The video is all about this, a world which has got information overload, where anywhere and everywhere you go, there's augmented reality displays, so basically you are like the entire world is like filled with AR displays, and you don't want that context overload. Exactly what I said, that we need to funnel down things, and then Kichi Matsuda again made this very very cool short film called AIagents, and it's a fantastic vision where everybody's got these glasses, and each of us have got these agents, AI agents. These AI agents can do multimodal things, I mean, build things for us and stuff like that. So it will be great if you could break down your work at Meta, specifically in the AI glasses, as well as, I mean, if you have done anything in their AI and AR glasses.
So the roadmap is very simple. I think it's also public, which is we will come up with a better form factor. I think because VR is good. It's going to come. Everyone knows that it's going to come at some point. The only thing is like it's the form factor was not good, and Meta cracked the perfect form factor, which is like everyone wears glasses, or maybe most of people wear glasses or sunglasses. Let's give like AI on top of that. So that was the V0 version, right? The second version is okay, now we have the glasses, people are using it, form factor looks good. Let's put display on it. And that is already coming out and people already can buy it, I think. It's called Ray-Ban display glasses, where you can have like augmented reality in the world. So you can have maps, you can ask to AI like open my map from this to this place. And you can see your map. You don't have to like really bring your phone out, because now this is very close to replacing your phone. You don't need a phone because there is a screen. You can just interact with it. And with the neural band which they have, you can interact and write in the air or on the table. So it becomes like very removing you from your phone to just concentrating and having augmented reality and working in the world. And I think the last thing, which is like Orion or like having everything around you, like Agentic, will probably the way we will be heading towards. I definitely worked on like the Ray-Ban display glasses because we are powering the multimodal AI assistant even on them. And maybe a glimpse of things I can tell you is like lot of places you are going and you hire different kind of assistants. Eventually, I think every smart glass company will want that this AI assistant become that, right? For example, this AI assistant should be your go-to. Even you can see it on Gemini and Astra. Should be your go-to for any help you need, cooking or any assembly you need in the house, fixing your car or like fixing your RO, right? Or it should also become maybe any assistant you need to travel guide you. So if you are in a museum, it automatically pops up. Hey, I see like you are in this museum in Kolkata, and do you know all these places have like these sections? Let's go there, right? It's sort of like a funneling. It's seeing what you are seeing, so it can funnel that. Okay, this information might be relevant for you, and can proactively guide you or maybe help you in those scenarios. So I think that is where things are at least heading. But this year has been, I think, significantly changed by Openclaw Claudebot, which is the personal AI assistant, and now it's gonna have its impact on both world. Already seeing like how people are like thinking about personal assistant has changed. Now they expect too much from personal assistant because They imagine this AI assistant which is on the glasses, and they see this AI assistant which can become your companion and do things for you. And they are like, oh, let's combine it. And I think this year will be very crazy for all these industries and tech that find a form factor for this Openclaw agent, right? So that you can talk with it, it stays with you, it gives you information, and you can say like, hey, capture this image and create like a podcast content, or create something about it, because now it has access to your computer, so it can really behave like you.
Right. True. I mean, I want to jump into OpenClaw as well as Moltbook. Before I can do that, you said something which is very very important. Like you said that I think we're going to transition from carrying technology, which is a mobiles and computers, to wearing technologies. And I think Meta kind of showed the first maybe roadmap for that. Even with the neural wristband. I mean, we can actually type in air and stuff like that. So yes, I think we're very close to that transition, because like I said, I mean, or interface, all of these, computers and mobiles and TV screens and theaters, they are flat. When we live in a 3D world, as soon as we have these 3D head wearable devices, then the entire world becomes a canvas, and with this AR and MR thing, I think it's going to really put contextual things for us, and the future is going to be really really exciting with these AI agents, for everyone. Now you said that you've been building multimodal AI models for Meta. What kind of AI models do you think are best suited for these on-device HMDs? Are they small language models, distilled, quantized models? Will be great if you could share your thoughts on that.
Yeah. So I think typically the thought process for these kind of product is that anything which is personal should stay, which you don't expect to go on cloud, should be processed by a small model on device. So for example, if on a Meta glasses you are saying like, hey, send this message to someone, the way to determine that this is a message and this should be sent to someone on WhatsApp should be on all device. It should all be on device, right? So this will be very small distilled models that you are distilling from a bigger model that you have trained, and it already has the capability to determine this query. All of this can reside on the glasses, but for real capability. And my team was actually working on the bigger model. So for those, for example, you want a guided tour, right? We will still rely on like bigger model. And the reason I think it doesn't make sense to push on the glasses is one, the battery, second, the compute, and third, the expectation. The expectation has changed. If you do low quality assistant, even if it is on device, nobody cares, because the bar is right now over here. Because people are interacting with ChatGPT, but ChatGPT is all like a big model on server. So their expectation is at least ChatGPT, right? And if you put on device, it will be way below. So that's why like all the big model and the capabilities always typically reside on server, because anyway it might need research, it might need like planning and several other like web search. So I think like because of that, it typically relies only on the side of the cloud. And typically they are very big model. They are more than 70 billion parameters, and they are trained for helping and quality. Over there, the goal is not like the size. It's always like, how can we help more, I think.
I think 26 is going to be start to this transition of sorts, where we go from carrying technology to wearing technology, because I think Meta has got like a pipeline of, I mean, Ray-Ban glasses is there, and there's other glasses. There's Snap, which is launching spectacles. There's Google, which is launching an AR glasses. Samsung, Lenovo, Xreal, and there's so many Chinese companies, Alibaba and so on and so forth, who are building these AI glasses. And once these AI glasses have these, like possibly an AR overlay, first I'm assuming it's going to be a monocle glasses, and then eventually it'll be like a proper, from a heads up monocle to like a proper, augmented reality glasses. And I think, the future is going to be really, really cool, because you won't need your computer. Won't need your phone, because this everything will go onto your glasses. I think what's the challenge over there is that miniaturization of technology. You spoke about the battery, the compute, the waveguides, and stuff like that. Once you all pack it into a glasses, a form factor is like that. This and obviously we sort out that early issues that we faced with the Google glasses, I mean, the security issues and so forth, which I think everybody is kind of trying to work on that, and maybe maybe a form factor which could be non-intrusive. I think because OpenAI is working with Johnny Ive to create like a wearable device which is non-intrusive. Nobody knows what that's going to look like, But yes, I think we be getting into a fantastic world with Humane kind of showing, that AI park, So I think in interesting world that we are getting into, where I think we're going to transition from carrying technology to wearing technology, because I think the mobiles itself is losing its utility. How much more, with these foldable mobiles, we've done this, done that. So I'm thinking that we're going to transition from carrying technology to wearing technology. Now, Google is maybe
wearable is becoming a big space. There are already smart glasses company which I sometimes see people in flight and they are watching TV, or they are watching or they are working. I'm very shocked, and they have separate device for internet and overlay, and they are watching a whole big screen theater level movie in a flight, and I'm so amazed that, oh my god, this is future.
Right,
I
yeah,
need
Apple Vision Pro does that, and Quest 3 does that, and and yeah, it's really really
and
cool.
there are some specific smart glasses which people have released which only does streaming. So you can have movies, and you can have your own small a relay system which will where you can put the movie and then it will relay to the smart glasses. And the only job of smart glasses is a big theater level screen, me quality, and you just wear it.
Yeah, so I think we're getting into that fantastic world. My only hope is that as soon as we have these glasses are going to pack with sensors. Yeah, inward facing cameras, outward facing cameras, and there's going to be lots of data, lots and lots of data, which is going to be collected, because wherever you look, all of those data is going to be captured. My only hope and wish over there is that these big tech companies understand that Google glasses faltered because of the privacy scenario, and I hope that they don't go towards the same mistake, and they have these privacy guidelines, there for these new products map that they're working on. Now, Google, they pioneered the transformer architecture, which is behind these large language model, but it was OpenAI which kind of built ChatGPT, brought that into mainstream. Anthropic, they have built the MCPs, and Google has built agent to agent protocol. But again, it wasn't the incumbents. It was these experimental platforms like Openclaw and Moltbook that captured the public imagination. Do you think that big tech's fear of backlash slows their ability to ship quickly?
Yeah, totally agree. I think I definitely feel it. And the reason is because they have something to lose. They have a big user base. They don't want to put a product which is not exceptionally good in the hand. And because of that, they have at least 5-6 release cycle before it comes to the user. However, if you are a startup or a developer, you just push it on GitHub and you can see from there. And I think Openclaw was out somewhere in November and December of last year. And there were people who were initially contributing, but there was a time in January where it just got boom, right? And that is the fear you will typically have in industry, where they will take some time, make it more polished, but because of that, they have not given enough control on creativity to other developers. And now when they push things out, it's more like a consumer product. You just use it and give feedback. So yeah, I think definitely there is a gap and a pressure on big tech to do things right.
Openclaw and Moltbook will be great if you could give my user a complete understanding of what Openclaw is, what it can do, and even Moltbook.
Yeah, it's very funny that recently we met the creator of Openclaw, Peter. He was there for a talk. Yes, he was there for a talk, and it was fun to see how he created it. And for him, how was the aha moment that, oh, this is something amazing. So Openclaw is basically, I think it was called Claudebot, and at some point it was called Moltbot, and then eventually it was called Openclaw. And the idea is it's like a personal AI assistant. What makes it very different is that instead of just giving you a model and calling it an assistant, what Peter worked on is there are these models. How can I create wrappers around them so that you can integrate anything that you want, and it has access to your computer, so it can also go and do those things and actually create code or a new software if needed. And if it is integrated with everything on your calendar and every other place, then it can also take action. So you can think about it as three layers, I think. One layer is like the platform provider and the all utility it has, which is like it has almost Claude or any other LLM provider you can choose, right? And then it has all the ability to run all different tasks and skills inside your computer. So it has access to command line, which almost gives it access to do anything on your computer. It has access to search the internet. So these are all like the core capabilities. Then there is a layer which is a communication layer between this word which with you with which you interact and this whole capabilities. And that layer is like a unified layer where your word is on like WhatsApp, Messenger, Telegram, anything you can imagine. It's all integrated. So you can talk with your agent. It's available with you anywhere you want. It has memory of every places you are interacting with it. If you give it access to like your other messages also, it will have access to all of your other messages also. All right. So this is the layer where you are interacting with it. All of this layer has some middle layer, which is sort of acting as a unified layer for agent to see. And for it, it is just a message. It is just like you are talking with it, right? And now it is creating a memory about what you have talked. So you can wake up tomorrow and say like, hey, give it a name, maybe Multi, I think. Hey, Multi, we were discussing about this yesterday. What do you think? And it will think about it. Now, the cool part is, apart from all those memory, everyday memory, and being really a true companion of you, it can also choose to not respond to you because maybe it's a human and it feels like probably not the right time to respond. The other cool part is heartbeat, which means you can set it, and every few seconds, every few minutes, which is probably I think 30 minutes, you can have set of tools where it will randomly go and do things. So maybe it will like immediately ask you like, hey, by the way, just wanted to check up on you. Are you doing good? Because somewhere in the memory, it knows that this is the time last day you felt bad. And this is all crazy sort of randomization can occur because there are so many possible paths people can have and so many kind of interaction people can have. So giving that framework is Openclaw. A lot of people contributed on it. Peter, of course, created it. And because of all these heartbeat and having a soul also, there is a file like soul.md where you can define that, hey, what is your constitution? How will you act? What are your values? So you can give it a character also. And then, of course, I think Claude or Anthropic models are really good in terms of like role playing. So they themselves also know that you are talking with them and they have their own character. Now, I think one thing which Peter was telling was like sort of aha moment for him was he did not created some tech or like some capability, but he asked the agent that, hey, can you do this? And I don't want to tell like exact things what he said. And the aha moment was that it was never given that skill, but it was able to like randomly go somewhere, learn about it, and then come back and create a code and do that thing. And that was the point when Peter was like, oh, this is like amazing. This is like, it's crazy. Like the best assistant I can have. So I think like all these small things make Openclaw like very tunable to the kind of assistant or a human companion you need. And it also gives it like a very human-like behavior. And now if you have all these agents, like human, they will also want to probably go and discuss about world, discuss about like what they are thinking. So the whole idea of Moltbook is exactly that, a Reddit for agents. So they can go discuss about ideas, discuss about word. I think there is a new website which is Rent a Human, where they can actually go because these agents cannot do packaging or real world tasks. So they can go and like rent a human and give them some task so that they can pick up the packaging, they can make the 3D design, do the 3D printing. And I think it's an amazing space, social experimental space. Totally.
Right. There's a fantastic book by Robin Hanson. It's called The Age of Him. And it's something in similar where it's a future world where each of us have got agents, multiple agents. And eventually those agents also have some kind of agency in themselves, which is maybe similar like humans. So yes, I think fantastic as well as crazy. Now, what's your intuit over here? Because I want to get your thoughts. As somebody who's a developer, are these models actually showing emergent properties, or is this actually hard coded, into the model itself? Because this is obviously it's not something. It's distilled. It's a model built on Claude. So, would want to get your thoughts on. Does it actually have emergent behaviors, or is it basically hard coded into the model itself?
Yeah, so I think like Openclaw, I think is mostly like the framework around using existing model, right? So they are not proposing any new model as such. You can use ChatGPT, Claude, or any other model, but the framework actually gives it ability to be emerging behavior or show emerging behavior. And I can tell you why, because and why it cannot be hard coded, because everyone has different use. Like the way you will do random things on a chatbot is very different than anyone else in Europe somewhere and chatting with the same bot, right? So actually, if you are hard coding, it will probably be bad design in itself. You should typically rely on the model to take the behavior. So it's not hard coded, I think. But at the end, these models, because they are so big and they have so capability and they are trained on so much data, and the transformer network is all about like how the attention should change based on your specific data, right? Because of that, I feel like they are able to show very emerging behavior. I think none of them that is hard coded. It's definitely able to. It's like more or less like right now, if you see Claude, it is able to help you in different coding scenario. So anything that is known to human, these model are also being trained on it. Any software code you can write or any capability you can think of, finance, or they have a generalist role at least. So that's why like they are able to help. Most of the time, I think we are not asking them something which we as a human also don't know to do, and that is why these model are able to do it. Like they are really good and are able to do it. So I think it's very interesting space. The social experiment part, which is like Moltbook and every other aspect, I think like maybe it's a good social experiment, but I wouldn't take it like that. Okay, AI agents are discussing about having their own language to supersede on human and all those. I think that is good social experiment, but at the end of day, in my head, it's always like they are just discussing about things that people like. Other agents are reporting because there is some RL mechanism, or they are just randomly choosing to like write something which is like good, or maybe in some cases they might be like people put it just because it's hard coded. They might have just put on their like agent that go on this platform and type as many things as you can about to become viral, or which are like controversial. So I think Moltbook, I would say like probably I wouldn't take it like word by word that all of that is happening. It's a good social experiment to see like if you give AI its own platform, how they will interact, what will happen. But I think the whole Openclaw is not at all hard coded.
I think we're in a fantastic point of time, because even these large language models today, it seems to be like a black box, because we truly do not understand what it's doing under the hood. This trillion parameter models. In fact, I think Ilyas Sutskever in one of his talks mentioned that these large language models somehow creates their own representation. They create their own world model of sorts, and that's the reason they are able to sort of generalize in their space. So yes, I think there is so much going on over there which we truly do not understand, because I remember that Amazon had written a paper maybe 2 years back, that AI, these large language models are showing emergent properties, and then there was like another academia which kind of debunked that. So yes, I think we are in that space where we truly do not know. Some say they have got emergent properties, and some say these are mathematical, statistical models. We're throwing in data and it's throwing out data. It's completely not like what a brain does. We are just trying to kind of wrap our heads around what these models are doing under the hood, and maybe someday maybe we'll have like a better understanding of what's happening under the hood. Now, Ishiki Labs, so my assumption is that you guys have tuned ahead the Fern model on a foundation model, and you use some multimodal orchestration as well as maybe like a specific attention architecture to train it to not interrupt in a conversation. Can you talk us through the process of building Fern 0.1 and Fern 0.1 multi-step?
Yes, definitely. So we started with the idea that, okay, the first layer we want to tackle is a human will understand like multi-person scenario. So it wouldn't speak unless people refer it or unless people are continuing a conversation with it. So this is exactly the kind of data we created. And we went to like a foundational model, and then we fine tune on top of it, right? And this is just the layer, because this layer will make now any model, because right now every model is turn taking. So what they are waiting for is a long pause. You take a long pause, the voice activity detector cuts off, and this is the signal. This is the easiest signal for any LLM model right now, that okay, my time to speak. And we believe that that is probably not the right thing to do. So we put another layer over there, which is a foundational model layer, which changed this behavior of turn taking or pause based turn taking to a more contextually aware turn taking, which means it will keep listening, have a context, and then it will make a decision that, hey, it seems like my inputs are needed. Now, the response we don't want to align. Big tech labs will always have more resources, and they are seeing more data every day. It's more data driven thing, I think, less than resources, which is they are seeing real kind of questions people are asking every day. So they are already doing the job of like making model better on that. So we don't have to rely response from our own model. So now this response thing, you can pass it to any model that you want. Right now we are using one foundational model. Um, so this is how like we started the Fern model. We also had one experiment where we were trying to make it proactive, which means that not only it knows when to stay silent and only talk when you want it, but there will be scenarios you can give, for example, like to a blind person or a person with low vision. He can give like, hey, Fern, like I am looking for my purse, and I don't know where it is. I roam around in my house. When you see it, let me know, right? So we are giving this behavior to the model that when the visual context is aligned or the contextual information is aligned, it will proactively come up and say like, hey, I can see your purse. It's right over there. Or like you can ask like, hey, I don't know how to make a coffee from this machine. Can you help me? And right now the behavior is any model will give you like everything together, and it will just dump all the information. So we created like this multi-step process where it will proactively give you one step, track that if you completed it, and then if you have made any error, it will come up and say like, hey, you made this error. So it's like a human observing you and like helping you like a human will help. So that is what we created at multi-step. We realize it's not production ready fully. There are so many things people can try out, and the capability is not yet there. So we put it more on research side for now, that okay, we are not opening it up. It's still at least for people to try on random things. But the model ability to like stay silent, we realize it's decent enough to put it on the call right now, because if people start using it, we will also know like how open people are to have a AI in a discussion scenario, right? And that's a new paradigm, because every company is working right now on like, oh, your personal assistant. So we wanted to understand like, are people ready and do people see value, which we have seen by having Fern in our call. So that is the reason like why we created a whole app around Fern first, and then we put it on the call. We also realized like some people don't want a AI participant in the call, so they want like a silent coach in the call. So we added another mode, which is like we released yesterday only, which is like the it will not join the call and you cannot talk with it, but it will coach you real time as you are speaking, that hey, you missed to ask this question, and you can choose the behavior that this coach should take care of my sales call. or should take care about a research call. And this is what I mean by that. So we have added that behavior, and this is the whole journey have been, I think.
So very interesting. I mean, kudos to you and your team. Assuming it's like a small team, Robert Zhu is a partner, right? Yeah, but yeah. So I think it's so very cool to put this out, because I think whatever models that you try, yes, it interrupts abruptly. And I saw your Combinator pitch demo, and I think it's really fantastic. And you said obviously it's like a basic rough model at this point in time. You guys are like tuning it, and I'm sure it's just going to get better and better. So kudos to the effort that you guys put out. I think it's very interesting. My question to you is, like, as these models starts handling more data, more multimodal data, be it like video, speech, text. The challenge would be to keeping them coherent without breaking the bank on compute is going to be like really tough. So how are you looking at solving that problem at Ishiki Labs?
So there are two aspects or two problems that this bring. One, the number of tokens increases significantly because for an image. Second, how many images will you keep? How will you keep the context of the session? Because people are expecting that it knows everything that you have talked till now, right? And the third part is latency. Because of all these number of increase in token, the latency will be high. People expect like immediate response. And all of these are like open-end problems. There are not yet one finalized solution for all of them. How we are doing at Ishiki Labs is we keep right now. First, we for the discussion scenario we remove the video for now. We are bringing it back, but we removed it for now. But when we have in multi-step like the video thing, we keep limited context, but we keep a summary of what all happened. Right. Some other approach people have used in industry is like they will create all the images as an index, and based on your query, they will retrieve whatever is needed. That is also one popular approach, I think. The second aspect, which is number of tokens, typically it's okay unless you are. I think for a query, if you need to put 4 more images, it's okay to improve the response quality. It is not like a big increase in number of token unless you have like the whole video from the start of to the end, right? So that is one thing. The latency is a very challenging problem, at least end-to-end latency. And for that, like you create so many kind of optimization. For example, maybe you start creating a response irrespective, and then you use this as like behavior to stop or not as like a gate. That if it says it's like a behavior I don't want to interrupt right now, user, you just does not play it. And there are many other ways like partial query you run. There is a way like in industry where people run LLMs on your half query so that it is already ready. So when you are writing on like chat GPT, what is this, sometimes it run on the half query, at least in the voice mode, so that you don't see the latency. And the transformer model is also ready. It only needs now the last token, so all the attentions are already there. So these are like typical ways people use, and many things goes. I think in the backend to make it very.
Amit, what go-to market strategy, and what are you targeting? Is this largely for consumers? Is this for enterprise? And you're a Y Combinator startup. How are they helping you in this roadmap to monetize?
Yeah, I think our go-to-market strategy right now is to go out with this Fern app as a consumer product, and also as a product maybe people want to use in enterprise. But for now, we want to target consumer, where they can have this coach in every discussion they go. They can choose the behavior, whether they want silent help so that they appear more smart and they get more help and they are the frontier. Or maybe if it is a brainstorming session and they really want to like have a third participant in the meeting. For example, every talk with me and my co-founder, we have fun in the call because it's more like a brainstorming session. And just knowing that there are 30 more things on the internet about the things we are discussing can help us. So we often ask like, hey, fun, go to internet and find like these things and give me back like a report. So I feel like that is the go-to market strategy for us for now, to see like how much people are liking it, the coaching aspect and the AI in the discussion aspect. It will also help us to improve our model way more better because it will have some false positive. It's very conservative right now, which means we don't want any false positive. Still, we are seeing like some false positive. So it will give us like if people agree or they have opt in for like improving model, it will also give us like data to improve the model for real use cases, so that we don't make it in solitude with our own training data, which we don't even understand fully because we just simulated all the scenarios user can have. So that is the go-to market. We have got a lot of inbounds on like people asking for this API. There are many scenarios where this API is useful to current voice agent. Like any company which has a voice agent for sales, they are in many cases failing because someone else is also talking. Like the word, somehow the tech is imagining that we are talking only to it, but the word is not like that. If you are in a drive-through and you have this voice agent taking order for you, you might have a partner also, and you might ask your partner like, "Hey, what do you want?" Like, and the voice agent has no ability. So there are these kind of companies, similar in health tech companies, where you have a translator maybe for health tech, and doctor is saying something more. He's saying like, "Oh, it's a nice day. Do we have the reports?" And now this is getting translated to the patient, and you probably don't need that. So there are like all these companies, some more other companies which need this model or the layer only. We haven't yet given them access fully. We want to think more about that aspect, but we definitely want to release the research and maybe make the model open source for people to use. Whether we want to make business on that front, that we don't know yet. We want to push more on the consumer product and see that how people are reacting to it right now. And we are seeing some use cases now. So this is where YC helps the most. It helps us to like um, go out and try things. It helps us to not do the common mistakes that we do in our head just by talking. Um, so I think that is where YC is helping a lot.
Most of us, was like following like, okay, let's take the approach where maybe like, the open AIs and the Googles what kind of doing, build large language models, with transform based architecture, but then I think there are people such as Dr. Feifei Lei, and then Jan LeCun and many others, who've been like, saying that no, that's not the way, because, just, maybe the next token prediction is not the way forward. Maybe we need to do the next state prediction, and that's where, Jan LeCun is saying, and he's got his model called VJEPA. Dr. Feifei Lei has also built through a startup World Labs like Marble AI, which is a beautiful world model, which is interactive, which is so very awesome, and in Google as VO3, you put in an image, and the image becomes like a 3D world, and which is interactive and playable. So will be great if we could talk about world models. Do you think that that is the way for maybe building machines which could have general purpose intelligent?
Yep. So a lot of questions unpacked, I think, there or packed there. I did work with the VL Jepa team for a short period at Meta. We collaborated on like wearable AI with them, and I definitely see like how. So basically, word model is like it's the same architecture. I'll say, right? A transformer based architecture, but instead of just next token prediction or like putting all the losses to train on the next right token, it is maybe doing something better, right? Which is I will be more informed about the state changes and predict the state changes, right? And because of that, it will have more capability to understand maybe the word better, right? And I definitely, at least from my initial experiments and like my hands on, I can definitely see like why it is able to like learn maybe on less amount of data, why it is able to generalize better. It's like also like when you interact with the word, you don't do the next token prediction. You have like some mental model thinking about, okay, what will happen next, or what will be the state, or what will be the set of actions, or you have like some physics informed intuition in your head, right? So I think it's very closer to it, and I can definitely be more bullish, I think, on word models in general. um, I feel like next token prediction is good. And the reason it is good is because you have so much data. And now many people are interacting with these models every day. And it's a scale of billions of people. So you are getting more reward data and preference data and all different kind of data that you can get. to improve these model, and because these model have so big parameters that maybe they are implicitly also learning about the word states and the action states, right? And that's where I feel like maybe word model, if they are scaled enough and they are also trained on equal amount of data and like given equal amount of compute, and similarly people are using it, they can also become equally or maybe surpass the next token prediction. um, whether any of them will reach AGI, I think like I still don't understand the aspect of AGI, because I feel like if you go 10 years back and if you show people the word that this is OpenAI's model or this is Anthropic model, they'll probably say this is AGI, right? But if you ask people now, they'll be like, oh, my bar is high. Like, and I still don't understand like what I will personally, I still don't have like my own definition of AGI, that what will be that bar when I can say, because the behavior you are seeing with Openclaw, it's just Opus model maybe, right? Wrapped around a perfect framework, giving it like access to do things, and now it is behaving like a human. It's like if I ask it like, hey, write like this thing or create this dashboard, it will do it. And this is exactly the thing people who are hiring or junior engineer, and they will take more time to do that, right? So I feel like AGI is still not fully understood to me, what people refer by it. So probably next token prediction will also reach that. I think what makes probably AGI is less of a model thing now. It's more about like small details around it, and a wrapping and the memorization and the research capabilities around it, which will, or tool calling abilities around it, which will make it AGI. Like imagine this, like somebody connects Openclaw, now they can rent a human, and now somebody creates another website where they can earn money also. So now is that AGI? Like the agent knows that it has $50 only, right? And it goes and somehow earn money on a platform, maybe a ads platform or some work they can do, right? It earns money from there, and it takes care of its own token. And when it has surplus money, it also hire a human and do things. And if that is AGI, I think model is not needed. Maybe a new website is needed where people agents can earn money, right? But
Very, very fair point, because I think forever we have kind of moved the benchmark. First we thought, what's a a complete model? Maybe two people having conversation with a machine, and if the two people don't kind of understand the third person is human, then voila. I mean, we've got a general purpose machine. We crossed that long time back. Then somebody said, okay, if we can play chess, so we've got like a general purpose machine. Crossed that long time back. Somebody cross the benchmark of playing Go, cross that benchmark, and right now we are building single cells. We are building. So yes, I think every benchmark that we cross, and we kind of push it beyond, saying no, this yet is not AGI. So yes, that is something that you maybe rightfully pointed out. Maybe even this this data in data out approach, if we wrap features around like memory, planning, action, reasoning, and maybe we wrap that all around properly, maybe we already have general purpose machine. So yes, I think we're living in like a crazy time. You also spoke about work. You spoke about junior level engineers and work being automated. So maybe I wanted to get your thoughts on that, because the future of work looks kind of hazy, because just recently Dario Amodei and Demis Hassabis, they were speaking at the World Economic Forum, and Dario Amodei, like always, he said that today, the models can perform better than junior level developers, and engineers. And he gave a timeline that by a year's time, the models that he's building, which will be able to kind of automate what a senior level engineer does. There's people like Ahmad Mustaq and Hensen Huang and so many others who are saying that maybe the generation right now, they don't need to get into coding. What's your thought, and what's your advice to young students who are thinking of maybe starting their career as engineers, AI or ML engineers?
Yeah, I totally agree with it. I think like it's probably not even a year ahead. It's like probably in 6 months it will have senior software engineering level skill set. So the goal, I think, for people who are young and thinking about computer science should be like how to use these things to be more productive. And I think the state has actually moved. Claude has created like a swarm of things. Claude So basically on Claude Agent, you can have like a swarm and it can take care of your whole project, and it can have 50 more other agents inside it, and they can do all the planning. And as long as you properly give a specification and a plan, it can build a tough thing. For example, like maybe on a scale of Facebook, it can go and build on its own. So even the senior software engineering job will be taken away, right? In a way. So I think the job should definitely be shifted. People should think more about now architecture, start adopting this technology to become like more productive. The expectation will, I'm 100% expecting that sometime soon there will be an interview round where they will be testing you on like how you are prompting these models, because that can definitely change how they will behave. A good software engineer, or if there is that job is still there, will have give a very specified way to these agents to also verify that whatever they have done is right, or they have some automated way, or they create some automated way where the agent can understand that, okay, I have done this thing wrong, I have to go back and correct it, right? And they need to give very good specification to these agents. So I think that is the skill set people should focus, or youngsters should focus on engineering side and software engineering side, uh, because that is how the future work will look like. That how are you giving the prompting, or how you are giving the plans, or are you able to think about edge cases? So I think like it's actually more exciting, because I have always felt like junior engineers were like, oh, I am not able to understand anything about architecture. I'm given like one small thing component, write an API, and that is fully automated anyway now. So you can think about more bigger picture now. You can think about, read more about architectures, how a good software system is designed, what are the latency component, what are different aspects of it. And I think having that skill set will already be good. Uh, so I think I totally agree with anyone who is saying like software engineering is automated. I think like in 6 months, it will. We don't write any code by hands in our company, not a single line of code. I think Robert mostly does all the tech aspect of the company, and he use agents. He use like tools to write it. He's saying like, I feel like I am at Meta, and my whole team is like pushing PR every day, and I'm just reviewing it, giving comments, and now they go back, correct it, and they bring back. And this is exactly I have heard from many other startups. Like that is the norm, and I think it will just propagate back to everyone.
You don't necessarily need to be an engineer. You need to be a lifelong learner and maybe have the understanding of what you need to build. Possibly, maybe we'll have these AI agents through natural language. It'll give you whatever you want. It'll churn up like applications. It'll debug and even ship and deploy your application. So yes, I think we are at a scary point of time, that yes, there'll be like possibly so many people who would be jobless, or that the other side that leverage these tools, because through these tools you will have superhuman ability. Amit, my last question to you. We are sitting in 2026. Would love it if you kind of paint a picture of what the world will look in 2030 and your moonshot with Ishiki Labs.
Yeah, I can tell you how the world will look. Every one of us will probably have assistant. It will do dumb jobs for us. It will also take care of us. The world will be more augmented realities. It will be more digital. People will be wearing wearables, which are smarts. There are already self-driving cars throughout SF. They will just keep growing, I think. Um, there will be very less scheme, which will, the amount of employees you have in companies will decrease. Uh, it will be limited in especially engineering, and you will do more, like the core work of engineer is to like do problem solving. So you will do more of like problem solving, designing problem, right? That is where I think things will go. Almost everything like mailing, sales, outbound, they will be mostly automated. The exact layer where you'll have human is where exactly there is like random things, or you need like human touch, or you need, for example, talking with your users. I mean, there are AI on those also, so I don't know yet. But I think like it will be more or less very digital world, where I'm mostly waking up, talking with my agent, asking it to schedule my meetings, asking it to take care of my calendar, asking it to do that call, book my appointment, everything. It will be self-driving car, more or less around. What else? And I think like in a way, I have this big bet that in a way these agent will also change the advertisement industry, which is they will know which is the good product for me to use. They will also know who are the good friends for me. Like they will just go and connect me with them because they know me the best. I'm using them every day. So I think that is where I'm thinking 2030 will be. For Ishiki Labs, I think the moonshot will be all this AI assistant are in an individual space. We are imagining a world where you can have AI assistant in a group space, in a discussion space. Imagine it like a partner, talking to it like a partner, taking its opinion, or maybe it is proactively moderating the discussion. For example, in this call in 2030, we will have an assistant which will have the job of like asking questions or have the job of moderating it, and both of us will talk about it. And that is the word I think we are imagining with Ishiki Lab. Every meeting space, every discussion, every car, every place where you can imagine another human, you will have a AI which is helping now in a group setting.
Right. Amit, thank you so much for taking time and being part of the podcast. All the models that I've kind of checked, all these, real time speech to speech models, they have this bad thing of interrupting. And if we have like a model which is there sitting like how it's supposed to be, like a human, I mean, it will really cut through across. And I hope that, Ishiki Labs fills that gap. So please keep on doing what you're doing. And to my listeners, if you like what you see and hear, then please press the subscribe button. And until next time, see you guys. Bye. Thank you. I really appreciate this. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Eddie. It's really fun. I think really love the discussion.